The driftless area is one of the most unique areas of the United States. The bypassing of the last glacier period has created a region that is roughly 50,000 square kilometers in size, is dissected by the Mississippi River floodplain, and includes portions of Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, and Illinois. Over the last century and a half, this landscape has experienced pronounced changes in land cover as much of the savanna and prairies were replaced by agricultural lands. Efforts to improve land practices and restore what once was began in the 1930s, coming into full force in the second half of the 20th century. But this region is still suffering. Natural habitats and inhabitants of the driftless region are being threatened by subdivisions, development, mining, and unsustainable land use practices. Some of the rarest natural communities in the world, like oak savannas, are here in Wisconsin, but only a fraction of 1% remains. Every year, over 30,000 acres of farmland are lost to development. Frac sand mining has exploded over the past several years, leaving the landscape scarred and threatening the environment. A number of species found in this area are threatened by loss of habitat, such as the ornate box turtle and little brownback, to name a few. This trickle-down effect is occurring day after day and needs to be acknowledged before it's too late. The Mississippi Valley Conservancy was established back in 1997 as an accredited land trust organization. Their mission is to conserve native habitats and farmlands in the driftless area for the health and well-being of current and future generations. This organization is made up of several board members, staff members, partners, and sponsors, all of whom are dedicated to conservation efforts. Some positions specifically focus on the physical aspects of the natural environment, habitat connectivity, and conservation and preservation efforts.
So I kind of try to keep our properties open for the public and maintain them as much as I can, and we're all about trying to restore habitats and making sure there's enough room for all the wildlife and stuff out there. So I would like to see us continue to grow and for our ability to actually manage land and restore land to increase, and for there to be more funding for things like that, because I feel like it's important for people to get out there and actually make a connection with the land.
So I will work with a landowner who's interested in having a conservation easement on their property, work through it with them from beginning to end, and then once the conservation easement is closed and they become a part of our kind of portfolio, I guess, of easements, we work on monitoring each easement every single year. So the stuff that's going on in this area of Wisconsin and the Midwest in general is pretty similar to what's going on across the country. There's a lot of fragmentation, a lot of use, a breaking up of land for development purposes, so for mining, and there's a lot of changes going on with climate change where species that weren't here before are showing up here now, and trying to manage and protect land after those changes come through. So because I'm trained as a wildlife biologist, I tend to look at things from the perspective of habitat connectivity. And so it kind of goes along with that idea of fragmentation, and what we're seeing a lot of out here. And so being able to protect land on a landscape scale, protect habitat on a landscape scale. So you're not just looking at every particular small parcel and trying to protect everything. You have to be able to kind of pick and choose your battles, and that's kind of a part of what we do, is trying to protect things that'll help with connectivity.
So I primarily work with landowners on deed restrictions and conservation easements that say that regardless of who owns a property in the future, it can't be subdivided, it can't be developed, it can't be mined, and the habitat stays intact. So things that we thought were permanently protected aren't, and which really reiterates to all of us here at the Conservancy how important this work is to protect these habitats. That I think the other argument we've seen is that, well, if it's a steep bluff, it's protected. You can't develop it because it's steep. Well, for enough money and a good dozer operator, you can put a road in a lot of places that probably shouldn't have roads and buildings and things like that.
As these stakeholders claimed, conservation easements and restoration work are ways we can attempt to solve the eminent issues of development, mining, and unsustainable land use practices. These issues cannot be solved overnight. It will take time to restore what was lost, and in order to do that, we all need to be on the same page. Join the Mississippi Valley Conservancy and help save the Driftless region from irreversible actions. Donate land or a conservation easement. Volunteer to help restore wildlife habitats. Become a member or offer a monetary donation that can be used to support land protection services, restoration efforts, and education and outreach for all ages. Together, we can restore uniqueness to the Driftless region.